just to say a few things about patient educator as a career option. My speakers before me has spoken a lot. As Dr. Velma was rightly mentioning, every education should be driven by felt needs of the patients and the families, and it should be delivered with competence, compassion, and confidence. So we know that education is the key to change attitude, behavior, and practice. That is why we give a lot of importance to education here. So we have various, like we have a CKD educator here who functions in the nephrology OPD, where she assesses patients, especially the staging of kidney disease is done by her, and she maintains a CKD registry. And if a patient is diagnosed to have CKD, the CKD educator in the OPD, she is the one who discusses about the renal replacement therapy options, counsels the patients, and depending on the patient's decision, will direct the patient to either hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis or to the transplant team. So why we need an educator? Like before, people used to be satisfied just with the treatment, but now this right to information is a big thing. Every patient, every family has the right to get right information at the right time, and they need to make an informed decision. Many times the decisions that our patients make is not with full information and timely information. They are just kind of forced into making a quick decision with less time left and less information given. So it's very important to participate, involve the patients and families in management from the beginning, from the time any treatment plan is made. So that we are lacking a little bit in our country, the involvement of patients and family from the beginning in the plan of care, setting up the goals of treatment and management as well. So by educating, we are empowering patients and caregivers with knowledge and the required skills, because we know that the treatment that we offer in the form of hemodialysis or transplant or peritoneal dialysis, it's just a portion, a small fraction of the management. It will not be complete without the participation of the patient. There is a lot of practices and behavior that has to be augmented by the patients, by the families, without which the treatment will be incomplete. So these are the various educator roles that we have here in CMC, and we have nurses taking up all these educators' role. But like I know that even the dialysis therapy, those who have completed the dialysis therapy course also can be taking up these roles effectively. So here in CMC now we have CKD nurse educator, we have a hemodialysis nurse educator, peritoneal dialysis educator, and vascular access, we call her vascular access nurse specialist, because it's not only education that she does, she also does a lot of things pertaining to vascular access management and AV fistula. And then we have a renal transplant coordinator. She's also a nurse. So they all work together as a team. So we have educators taking care of the patients from OPD, that is a CKD nurse educator. And if the patient chooses to have hemodialysis, the hemodialysis educator takes over. And if they choose peritoneal dialysis, we have peritoneal dialysis educators taking up the patient for counseling and further training, preparing for percutaneous catheter insertion and further training to perform peritoneal dialysis. And we have a vascular access nurse specialist. So she basically prepares the patients in vascular access creation and periodic assessment of the vascular access. One challenge we have in hemodialysis unit is every time the patient comes, dialysis is done by different people. So it is not easy to compare the present vascular access status with the previous one, because every time there is a new person assessing the vascular access. So that is kind of taken care by having a specialist who periodically assess. We make sure that at least once a month, all our patients' vascular access are assessed, in a structured manner and the findings are documented so that any problems, any complications can be detected early and intervened early so that we can save the access. Then we have a renal transplant educator who works with the recipient and the donor much ahead of the transplant, helping with from the registration process to the legal formalities, counseling the recipient, donor, being with them, coordinating the pre-transplant workup, and then during the transplant, it's taken over by the urology team. And after the transplant, again, the patient comes back to her where she coordinates the consultation with the doctors. We have follow-up for the patients at periodic intervals up to 6 months and even after that. So she takes care of the follow-up drug assays and complications, all that is assessed and followed up. So some prerequisites of being a good educator is having excellent communication skills. This is very important. Even when we chose educators for our department, we have patients coming from all over India. So language skill is very important. And it's not just the language, the way you put it across, the communication skill. And for the communication skill to be proper, you should have genuine compassion and concern for the patient, without which communication can become very mechanical. Then we want them to have essential computer skills for documentation and data management. And competence is very important. Unless they are skillful and adequately proficient with what they are supposed to do, they cannot be an educator. So clinical knowledge, competence, with which confidence comes. So all these are very, very essential when we choose a person to take up this role as educator. So the desired qualification can be a BSc in dialysis therapy. Here we have nurses who have completed their BSc nursing, or if they have completed diploma, then we encourage them to do a specialization course, which is a 1-year course in renal nursing, which includes all renal replacement therapies as well. And there are people who have diploma in dialysis therapy. Here in our hospital, they don't take up the role of educator, but I'm sure with extra training and certification, they can be prepared for this role. And I feel that certification and clinical privileging is very important, because with these educator roles, we expect them to do some like roles which are different from the usual, for which they have to be clinically privileged, certified. They have to be certified to gain the extra knowledge and skills, and clinical privileging has to be given to perform certain competencies. So we have clinical privileging done for all our educators here. So as I shared with you earlier, we have a CKD nurse educator. We have them in hospital setting in the OPD ward. We have one only in the OPD now. We don't have her services in the ward yet. And we don't have an educator in the community yet, though ideally it will be good to have a person in the community as well to detect CKD early in high-risk population. So here, what she does is screening for early identification of screening and early identification of CKD, especially in high-risk patients. And once they are diagnosed to have CKD, she does GFR estimation and she monitors the progress of CKD. And she also prepares the patients for renal biopsies, which we usually do for the patients to confirm the diagnosis and the staging of CKD. And she also provides them health teaching on diet, drugs, an overview about the renal replacement therapy options, so that she will be able to guide the patient to the right person. And she maintains a CKD registry. Then we have a hemodialysis nurse educator. Mainly it is an autonomous role where she counsels the patients and families when they are to initiate HD, and She educates the patients on vascular access creation, management, and when they come, they will not know anything about the procedure, cost, the risks, advantages, disadvantages. So she explains all this, gets informed consent, and then on a regular basis, she follows up all the patients who are on maintenance hemodialysis, giving them dietary. Very important. Of our patients will not take the prescribed drugs. So she tells the patients to come with their drugs, checks against the prescription, and make sure that they are taking the correct drugs, and prescription, if need to be modified, she consults with the nephrologist and do the needful. So she follows up the investigations, sees the dialysis adequacy, and make sure that documentation and data management is done properly. And then we have a PD educator. She is responsible for selecting patients. We have a criteria for selecting patients for PD. So once selected, she counsels and prepares the patient for PD catheter insertion and gives thorough education and training. We have such a good team who are very committed in training the patients and families, demonstrating, training them to perform PD exchanges, and also teaches them troubleshooting, and does periodic assessment and follow-up. Then we have a vascular access nurse educator who coordinates with the team, urology and nephrology team, in planning for vascular access creation. And she counsels and educates patients on CVC insertion, AVF creation, procedure, cost involved, risks, home care, and she helps in getting the informed consent from the patient. And here also periodic assessment of vascular access, identifying and reporting complications. So she is doing an excellent job. We are able to identify complications and document and report. We have a renal transplant educator also who is responsible for public awareness on organ donation, counseling, preparing the donor, assisting legal formalities, then teaching on infection prevention, immunosuppressant therapy, infection prevention, periodic follow-up, and informed consent, documentation, and data management. So basically, education breeds confidence, confidence breeds hope, and hope breeds peace. So we believe that planning for a decade, plant trees. If you are planning for a lifetime, we need to educate people. So thank you.